Hey guys, Tyler here with Music is Win representing Island Music Company. You can find them at islandmusicco.com. We're here with Mark Seal. And Mark, you're going to tell me all about the new layout lineup of Taylor guitars in 2017.
That's right.
What do you have here?
Well, we have a lot of new things going on, so I'll give you a little bit of a backstory briefly, because this year is kind of special for us in that over the last 3 years, we have completely redesigned virtually every series of guitars that we make. And in doing that, we've come up with some manufacturing capabilities we didn't used to have, which really is what's kind of led to us being able to create the guitars we're going to talk about right now. The first of which, this is called our Academy series guitars. And basically, we are all about creating future guitar players. And we realized probably the person that needs a good playing guitar right out of the gate more than anybody else would be somebody that's learning for the first time. Because if you try to pick up a guitar and you're trying to play, and you've got high string action, you've got long scale lengths where your arm's way out here, big bulky guitars. It's very discouraging. So we tried to create a guitar that is going to play really well for you, that will really kind of encourage you to be successful with it and to continue on with playing. Okay. So what we did was we basically put everything that you really need in a guitar that's going to help you to succeed, and we took away everything that you don't need. All the bling, bells and whistles, all that stuff. But we did on the Academy series, the couple things that make it play really well is that we have a little bit thinner nut width up here, which means the strings are a little bit closer together, 1 and 11/16. So if you've got smaller hands or beginning hands, that's going to be beneficial too. Okay. Also, our string length, also known as the scale length, is a little bit shorter. And a shorter scale length, it helps the string to be a little bit more flexible, which makes it easier to press down the strings. We coupled that with a lower string height, also known as action on the guitar. So a lower action on the guitar makes the guitar fret the chords easier. When they were designing these guitars, the idea was we wanted pretty much a playability factor, a durability, and we also wanted to put it at a price point that was affordable, so an affordability. And in doing that, we did the playability by covering those things and adding something really special in this right here. This is called an armrest.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most crazy things we've ever done, in that this armrest typically is a $1,500 upcharge and typically designed for our super custom and premier guitars. And the reason it's so expensive, it's incredibly time intensive to build it, to make it. And it's also challenging because on most of our nice guitars, we have these crazy finishes, gnarly woods, and then we also have binding, which you have to go back and do the armrest after the guitar is built. But on these, because we have one set of wood, we don't have binding on the instrument, we were able to automate this process, which put it into a price point that's going to make it affordable to a beginner. And the reason we did that, again, if you're picking up a guitar, we want a guitar that's going to stay in tune, it's going to sound great, it's going to play great, it's durable, it's going to last forever with easy maintenance, and also comfort. So you've got the armrest, the shorter string length, the lower action, the closer nut width. All of that leads to a guitar that's going to play really, really well.
It sounds like what you're saying is this guitar plays itself.
It almost does, right. In fact, if you pick this guitar up, it might just play itself.
It might just G chord.
Right, so it's very cool in that capacity that you're going to be able to just pick it up and play it and likely have some instant gratification. And if you have instant gratification, you're more likely to stick with it. The other thing that was our thought is that people will go out and buy a $200 or $300 guitar for their first guitar, and the problem is you have high action, and you've got a bigger guitar, they don't sound good, they don't stay in tune. We're trying to get that person to say, look, I really want to take this a little bit more serious, I'm willing to spend maybe a couple $100 extra, but get a guitar that's exponentially cooler. And that's what we've done.
It has that Taylor on the headstock too.
And it says Taylor, which we know that means quality, right? We're offering these in 3 models. So what I'm holding here is the Dreadnought version. This is called an A10, and this happens to be an A10E. Whenever you hear E at the end of one of our names of our guitars, it means electronics. So we have A10, no electronics, starting around $499 in the US, and then A10E with the electronics. We have our Grand Concert, which is our smallest full-size body guitar. That's called an A12, and we make that in an A12E as well. This is more singer-songwriter strumming on this guitar. The A12 is going to be a little more fingerstyle maybe. And then we kind of really threw in a cool guitar with a nylon string version of the A12, where we took an A12 and added nylon strings to it, and we moved the neck up to join at the 12th fret instead of the 14th fret. Okay. And what that does is that brings your left hand a little bit closer to you. So now you're playing a guitar where your left hand's very close. Our shallowest guitar body with the armrest, low action, short scale, or a little bit shorter scale length, and we have this guitar that plays really, really well. So if you're starting...
So you were not kidding when you said you went into every element of the guitar, that it's basically drawing from a beginner's mind, and all the hindrances they can experience are all addressed by this Academy series.
That's
right?
exactly what it is. And it's brilliant, and it's brilliant because I'm a teacher, and I think you are as well. And you get a student, they come in and they've got some big old guitar and the action's high and the plastic tuning pegs and one stage. how is that going to be rewarding for them to play something that just sounds horrible?
And then when you try and tune it and play it, and you're like, damn, I suck on this thing too.
Right? That's
This
true.
takes that away.
So, but it's funny. I mean, if you're a good guitar player, you can kind of play
You
on
can make
almost
it happen.
anything now, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when you're a beginner, you really want something like this. So this is our new Academy Series guitars. All right, so what I'm holding here is our GS Mini bass. And it's built on the chassis of our really, really popular GS Mini guitars. And the idea was we wanted to bring in, kind of like our Academy Series, we wanted to have more people playing Taylors and more people that want to get into playing music, right? So first off, think about bass players. How often are they left out of the equation, right?
I can think of a couple times.
Right? Go to a campfire. How many bass players are sitting there? I mean, a bass is a bigger...
Well, there's actually a ton of bass players, but you can't hear any of them.
That's right. They're big instruments. They typically require amplification. So you're not going to see them at a campfire. If you're backstage, I know when I'm doing rehearsals, backstage vocal rehearsals before a gig, there's always a guitar player and a pile of singers, and the bass players over in the corner kind of air bassing, right?
They hold down the groove.
They do, but just very well with air bassing. But you get them on a tour bus, same thing. You can do some rehearsals on a tour bus. So that's one application. Another application, though, is the guitar player that's very comfortable around the guitar and is making their own tracks or recordings, right? They're in the studio. They want to be able to play their own bass lines. This is something that feels familiar and is very comfortable for them. So there's a lot of applications right down to the kid that's never played an instrument at all, whether he's going to play bass or guitar. The argument, and I was talking to Andy Powers last week in some of our NAMM meetings, and he's like, this is almost the perfect instrument to start on if you're getting into a stringed fretted instrument, because it's one note. You're holding down typically the root of the chord, so it's music in its simplest form, and it's something that even a kid can do, a little kid can do. You can press down one note and start getting basic rhythm and learning notes, and then either you turn to a bass player or a guitar player, but it's kind of a nice gateway for it. And so the thing was, we had all these reasons we wanted to do it, and the time was finally right. The only problem was there was two main things we had to deal with. Three, but two that were very substantial. The first one was this right here, the strings. To have a 23.5-inch scale length neck, that's almost half of a full length bass. To get these strings to be weighted and balanced correctly, to get the right notes, to get proper intonated notes with the right feel, it was a little bit challenging. So we tried a lot of different things and ultimately partnered with Diodario Strings to come up with these strings.
I was going to ask where that kind of string length is obviously very rare.
Yeah, it's exclusive to these instruments.
That's what I was going to say. Okay.
And what's interesting, they're relatively light because it has a nylon core. That was part of the secret. Nylon core with a bronze wrap and the EXP coating they have on them, which is killer. So they last a long time, they play great, and they're the right tension, everything for this instrument. So once that problem was solved, that kind of really opened the door to the next problem, which was how do you take a big bass string, put it on the back of a guitar without having some big clunky block. So what Andy Powers went in to do was create bridge pins, because if you have a string that goes straight down, a big, thick bass string, that's got to come over that saddle. It's
going to like pull out the net or something.
Yeah, and it's going to be a 90-degree angle, which is hard to bend those strings that. So what he came up with, it's called a dual-pronged bridge pin. And what it is you push the string in, and when you push the bridge pin in, it's got two little kind of forks right here. The string, it pushes the string towards the back of the guitar, which makes that break angle come more at an angle, which is better for a bass string, keeps a little more vibration, keeps the string a little more alive. I know, I didn't either, but I just learned all this last week when Andy was showing it to me, and I was blown away.
It's like you invented it, dude, honestly.
Yeah, right? Well, what he did, he showed me, and the thing that's really cool is those little pins. There's a groove in the back, so when you tighten the strings, it spreads the pins apart. What that does is it holds the bridge pin in place at the exact amount of pressure it needs to keep it in place. So when you go to change strings, you simply loosen the string, it loosens the bridge pin, it pulls right out, the string comes right out.
These are the things that I don't think of at Wire.
That's why we're sitting here, and we're not in the engineer room being brainiacs.
Yeah, but it's great, man.
Yes, so we accomplished that, which was killer with the strings, and then finally, for bass strings, you need a much bigger post up here. So we worked with one of our tuning key supplier and came up with a bigger post with a smaller back, so we didn't have these obnoxious big bass tuning pegs, which have weighted the guitar heavy. And what ended up coming out was a guitar that was really well balanced for bass. It was really well balanced, has a great sound to it. It's loud.
It's the one thing that I've always had trouble with acoustic basses is like justifying how to get one and be like, this is going to be resonant and this is going to be out there in the world, and this seems like it's hitting me.
Yeah, it is. I think what happens,
right there.
Everybody we've handed these to, they sit down, they don't want to give it up. I was in a meeting last week when I was talking to Andy, and they gave this to me. And there's the exec guys there and the marketing guys, and we're all trying to stay focused on NAMM, and I'm sitting there rocking out and I couldn't stop playing it, So it's one of those instruments that you just absolutely fall in love with. It does come with electronics on it. It's called our ESB, and it has a tuner built in. So it's actually ready to gig live, it's ready for the campfire, it's ready for the hotel room, it's ready for sitting on the couch. Just anytime inspiration strikes, you have a bass that sounds great, plays great, but is actually fully functional. So we're really, really happy with that.
Totally new innovation on the strings, the bridge setup there, and the tuning. It's all new. So I don't think Taylor would make all those new things come into the world without being confident in it.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's coming for a long time, I think.
Seems like a guitar player would be real comfortable making the transition to bass on that. It's like, I feel like I should be shredding right now.
Right? Let's go. So this is our new GS mini bass. All right, so you have to check this out. This is our new 800 Series Deluxe. And what the 800 Series Deluxe is, basically what we're doing is we wanted to take the playability and the comfort and the power of our 900 series and marry it with our 800 series, which is kind of our flagship line of guitars, our flagship series of guitars. So this is going to give you some of the tonal characteristics more of a 900 series, and just a little more oomph out of the whole thing. And the way we did it was three things, really. First off, we added an armrest to this guitar. And this is called a radius armrest. It's a little different than our beveled armrest, but the radius armrest is just incredibly comfortable, a little piece of rosewood in there. And it's not only beautiful and comfortable, but it's functional as well, and that it keeps your arm off the top of the guitar. And if you keep your arm off the top of the guitar, you don't dampen the top of the guitar, so sonically you're going to get a little bit more volume out of it.
How many chords were strummed in order to figure that fact out that we need to address this?
It's a great question. I think you just watch people and you can tell the people that are, have their arm way down here, and you can see those people more visually probably than audibly. But the second thing we did is we turbocharged the top, and the way we did that was by adding an Adirondack spruce bracing to it. So Adirondack spruce bracing, that's kind of the most powerful bracing you can get for the top of this guitar to give it the most volume. So when you dig in, a little more volume, a little more power out of it. So here you are comfortable, and you have that extra volume. And then finally, we added our Godot 510 tuners. And our Godot 510 tuners are really cool because they're 21-to-1 gear ratio. Now, the majority of tuners we use on our guitars are 18-to-1, which is more than enough. They work really well. But when you get three more, kind of like Spinal Tap, it's like 11. These go to 11, right? So, but those three extra lines, they're just a little bit tighter, a little bit more detailed, and the guitar just stays in tune really, really well. And they've got a really cool look to them, these nickel tuners.
I've never seen tuners like that on Taylor, honestly.
Yeah, so this is typically reserved for our 900 series presentation series and custom guitars often, or some of the limited runs. But basically the guitar is just this kind of powerhouse. It's taken our 814C, which is the most popular guitar, over $1,000 in the world, and it's taken that to the next level and kept it at a price point that's pretty reasonable. So it's very cool in that regard. And when we came up with it, we thought, well, let's put it on three different models so we have some choices. So the three models we ended up putting on, we created what's called an 810E, which is a dreadnought, no cutaway, but all the same features, the Godos, the Adirondack, and the armrest. And then we put it on our smallest body shape, our Grand Concert, but we made an 800 series. It's called an 812, which is the small body, Grand Concert, cutaway with electronics, CE, and we did it in a 12th fret. So it's just the ultimate guitar. I'm sure you'll get a picture of it, but basically the neck's a little bit closer, body's a little bit shallower, armrest, Addy, cool tuners. Guitar is just awesome. And when I'm out touring during the year, I do shows all over North America for Taylor, and that 812 CE, as well as the 814, of course, is the staple, but the 812 is kind of shocks a lot of people when they sit down with it. And now to have it in a deluxe series is really good for us, I think.
That thing's glistening.
Yeah, it's killer, right?
It's got this kind of cool, ashy thing happening here in the frets.
Yeah, that's called marbling, and what that is that's ebony, and basically there's a whole story on ebony. In fact, I'll just tell you briefly. Go to taylorguitars.com or type in Bob Taylor and ebony, you'll find out what that's about. But basically, we're really saving the ebony forests by using everything the forest gives us rather than just using the jet black stuff. And as a result, we're getting these marbled pieces, and we're saving the forest and getting more beautiful pieces of wood in the process.
Looks good and sounds good, I bet.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Right on. Check out any of these guitars at Island Music Company, islandmusiccode.com. That's where you can order any of these. Of course, check out Taylor's website to get the full rundown on all the specs. And if you like me, if you like this face that's only good for camera, like you said, I teach guitar lessons, musiciswin.com. I think I have over 15,000 students that I gained in the last month. So that's pretty good. It's working out, real.
That's awesome, man.
But I don't have a Taylor yet. That might have to change.
We'll have to make that happen.
Thanks a lot again.
All right, take care of yourself.